Welcome to this ATA Insights webinar. Thank you for your ongoing interest and support of our webinar program. Today's session will begin in 2 minutes. ATA Insights Webinars is an online platform for the dissemination of professional renewable energy knowledge across international borders. Our aim is to democratize access to information, for innovation to spread faster, and to make the industry more competitive. And we do this through our online sessions, open to all our members. Every year, we do more than 100 sessions with over 250 speakers, 50,000 attendees from more than 50 countries. To participate in the session today, use the chat on the right-hand side to introduce yourself, your company, and where you're joining from. Under the screen, you will find the Q&A box, where you can send your questions for the speakers. We will get to as many as we can today. We're recording this session, and we will send you a link to the materials in a few days. Please consider supporting our content creation for the webinar program. Contact us on the email on screen. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. It really depends where you're joining from today, but my guess is that most people are going to be coming from the Middle East. I'd just like to welcome you to this online session. We're talking about opportunities for high-performance rooftops in the Middle East and Africa. And as you know, governments in the Middle East and Africa are increasingly pushing towards decarbonization of their grids. This is creating a huge opportunity for industries and commerce to run towards distributed solar projects, much smaller sources of PV, which can provide access to affordable, reliable, and sustainable energy. So today with me, I have 3 leading experts that are going to be talking to you about this topic, and I'd like to welcome them and ask them to introduce themselves and also where they're joining from today, because it seems we have a very diverse group today. So first of all, I'd like to ask Mehdi to please introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. So I am Mehdi Alami. I'm sales manager of Trina Solar. I'm in charge of North and West Africa and West Africa markets. So I'm happy to be here with you. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you very much, Mehdi. Now I'd like to ask the next person, who would be Youssef, to please introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. My name is Youssef Toumi, and I'm the sales manager of Kewa France. I'm based in Paris, and I'm in charge of the development of the market here in Europe, but also in the Middle East and Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Youssef. And last but most certainly not least, we also get Gabrielle, and I'd like to ask you please to introduce yourself and tell us where you're based today.
Good morning. My name is Gabrielle Schwarz. I'm the founder and CEO of Bougie. Bougie is a solar company in Senegal, and I'm speaking with you here from Dakar.
Excellent. So thank you very, very much to the 3 of you. You guys already know them now. So I'm going to ask for the first presentation, which is Mehdi, to please prepare your screen. And whilst Mehdi does that, just to let you know a little bit about the housekeeping, we're recording this session, so it will be available after for you, for your colleagues. We do have the materials for these presentations, so that means that you'll be able to review them afterwards. And the contact details for the speakers are there. If you need anything, we can also put you in touch at any point. Just to let you know, as the video you've seen before, the chat on the side, it's okay for you to introduce yourself, for your comments, but the questions do please send us to the Q&A box at the bottom, and please do send them because we'll read them afterwards at the end. And in that makes it easier for us to manage them and to answer them. If you send them in the chat, it's a little bit harder. So just so you know that's why we do it. And without further ado, please, Mehdi, if you could share your screen and get ready for your presentation. Make sure you take out your mute. Perfect, because it's harder to do it after.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here we go.
Did you see my screen?
Yes. Can you put that in large image, please? Yeah, perfect. Off you go.
Good. Well, today we will talking about rooftop and about solution that Trina can offer to to their customer and to the end user to have the most suitable solution for this kind of installation. In this first graph, we see that the growth of the non-utility scale is very important. And from this year to 2025, we see that the growth of non-utility scale is most important than the growth of utility scale. So from this consultation, we say and we think that we have to offer a dedicated design and a dedicated product for these markets. So for the non-utility scale market, the most important criteria for selection of modules is the size versus power and efficiency. So we must have always the smaller size possible with the higher power and efficiency. And we also, an important criteria is the weight, and the weight is very important on the rooftop because we have always some weight limit that the rooftop can support. And in addition to that, we are talking also about residential applications. So the appearance is very important. And finally, and it's also very important, is the reliability of our products. We are talking about products that have a lifespan of 25 years. So the first product that we are introducing in these markets is the Vertex S. So it's a small size model, 1.75 m on 1.09 m with a weight of 21 kilogram. It's a very interesting product, and really I like a lot this product because it is offering a small size, a bigger power, and a very important weight. 21 kilo is not a lot. And in terms of technical specification, we are in the best class in the industry. We are offering a temperature coefficient of minus 0.34% by degree Celsius and a first degradation year of 2% and an annual degradation of 0.55%. So we are offering some technical specifications that are very interesting and that's really suitable for this kind of application. We use for these models some advanced technology that I will present later, and we use the biggest size of woofer in the market, the 210 mm. So in the same size here, we can have up to 60 watt power higher than similar size products. And here there is a comparison between the Vertex S that we see here with the old technology of models, with the old technology of woofer size. So here we see the product with 166 mm woofer with 60 cell, and here the size of the model with 168 mm woofer size. So we see that in the same size we can win really 60 watts. So it's very important for this kind of installation. But we didn't offer just the Vertex S for rooftop. We are offering also another Vertex, another model, and it's for industrial application more than residential application. So these Vertex 510 watts, we have a bigger size for sure. It's 2mm.18 on 1mm.10 for a weight of 26.5 kilo. We are offering the same technical specification than the Vertex S, and we are using the same technology and the same size of woofer. And here we have a comparison between the size of the Vertex 510 watts and the other range of power in the market. So we see that the Vertex has almost the same dimension and same weight of the 450 watt. It's the mainstream for rooftop installation, and is smaller than this model of the 540 watts, which is also a mainstream for these for industrial rooftop installation. And we see that in the market there are some people, some installer and some EPCs who don't want to use the biggest one, the 540, because it's big, it's too heavy. So they prefer to use the 450 because it's It's easy to handle, but it's more costly for the project. It costs more than the other one. So we are offering this model that offer almost same power of the biggest model and in the same size of the smaller model. So this is the idea of rooftop. So we are trying to offer small size and more power. So here I will talk about a simple study that we do in a rooftop in China. It's a rooftop of 16.7 meter on 5.3 meter. So here the idea is that we can generate more electricity in the same area. We see here with the Vertex S, we can occupy all the area. With the other, with the old technology, 166 mm wafer and 158 mm wafer, we occupy almost the same area, but with the Vertex S, we are offering more power, so we are generating more electricity. And here the comparison with the old 400 power range with the 158 mm wafer, that we see that the area that are occupied by the panels are very important than the Vertex S. So in this case, we can't offer enough power. The power that we can offer with the old technology is just 12 kilowatts, but the power that we can offer with the Vertex S is 18 kilowatts. And even for the electricity generation, we are offering 10% more generation electricity in 25 years. And all that is so nice, but we are also compatible with all inverters that are in the market, because we work on the IC, and we are offering IC of 12 amp, and that is compatible with all inverters in the market. We don't need to have a special inverter for this kind of application, and we are compatible with inverters of Kewatech that Yusuf will present after, Goodwi, Solar Edge, Huawei, SMA, Sungrow, and even other products in the markets. So after that, I will talk about durability and reliability. As I say in the beginning, we are offering the lower degradation in the market and the longer warranty, and we try always to offer the best production and the best power to our customer. So for our Vertex series model, we are offering 2% of degradation of the first year, then 0.55% for annual degradation. So it's the best class in the market. We are offering a power warranty of 25 years and a product warranty of 12 years that can be extendable to 15, 20, or 25 years. So it depends of the customer, it depends of the end user. And about technology, to get the best reliability that we can offer to the client, we have an R&D. We invest a lot on R&D, and so we have some innovation to present on this series. So the first one is the Multibus bar. So the Multibus bar technology start to be in the market with size of wafer that are going that grow a lot. Wafer now are big, and we are talking about 210 millimeter wafer. So we need to install more bus bar on each wafer and on each cell. This is why we are offering multi-bus bar. It's between 9 and 12 bus bar, and with that we can improve electrical performance of our panels. But when we put a multi-bus bar, we create shading. So on the panel, on the module, on the cell. So we are we worked on the form of the bus bar, and instead of rectangular form, we are offering a round form of the bus bar, and like that we reduce shading. we improve light trapping, and we improve automatically the optical performance of our modules. And then there is the non-destructive cut. So it's a very important technology that we are using on all our models. We see with the beginning of the technology of the half cut, the mechanical performance of models with half cut wasn't at the same level of the full cell models. But with the non-destructive cut, we can have exactly almost the same mechanical performance than the full cell models. However, the number of the cuts in the panels, because for the for rooftop for non-utility market, we are using a triple cut technology, and we are the first one that are offering this technology in the market. And also we have the technology of high density interconnection. And here the idea of this technology, there is two schools. The traditional school is the gap between the cell and the model is 2 millimeters. And the new school, I will say that like that, is the overlapping. So the overlapping is to the models are each model are in the top of the other cell, and there is an edge of 0.2 to 0.5 millimeter. So we are creating some shading, and we are creating some the mechanical performance are not good in this kind of models, because we are creating some constraints on the cells. For Trina Solar, we choose the balance. So we use a gap of 0.5 mm between our cell, and we use this technology for all our series. And because we are green, and we are talking about green, about carbon footprint, so we have to think and to have the logic to offer the lowest carbon footprint to our customer. So we think also about logistics and about cost of transportation, about the carbon footprint of transportation of our models everywhere. And our logistic team do a very great job. And we can offer a capacity per containers for the Vertex S up to 379 kilowatt per containers. So we are the best in class another time in the container. So we can use less truck to transport and less container to transport our models. And for a semi-trailer truck, we can go up to 408 kilowatt per semi-trailer truck. So the idea is we have to offer the lowest carbon footprint to our customer, to our end user, and in all the step of the manufacturing of the models to the transportation and the installation of models. And by the end, I want just to give you to present this image about all our Vertex family, our Vertex series. I present today the Vertex S and the Vertex 510 watt. So these two models are dedicated to rooftop installation. They are designed with the logic of the use of in rooftop installation. And we are also offering 3 other models, 550 watts, 600 watt, and 670 watt. And these models are used for utility scale. So what we see here, that we are always offering more power than what exists in the market. So we are always trying to give our end user and our customer the most power and the most efficiency panel, and for sure the most reliable power. I would like to thank you for watching, and I hope it was interesting for you and that you learn something new. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mehdi, for your presentation and getting into so much detail about the panels themselves, which of course, when you have a solar rooftop, is very, very important that you think about what you're doing with that, especially because the space that you have is limited. Hence, you need to make sure that you can get the most use out of your system. So next, I'd like to invite Youssef, please, to share your presentation and go right ahead for it. And just a reminder, you guys, the materials and the recordings will be available, but please do send your questions. Use the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen, or if you're in YouTube, please also could you just put your question in the chat and we'll take it there. It says that you have started it, but it's taking
Can you see my screen?
Not yet, actually, Youssef. Would you mind stopping it, trying it again? Because it seems like it got stuck.
Yeah. It's okay now?
Not yet. I can still see. You don't see it either, right, Gabriel? It's not just me. Yeah, I thought so. Do we have your presentation, Youssef? All right, let's try it once again. Sorry, guys, these things do happen. We're live, so you know, there is always something. There is nothing. It just takes time to load. I don't know why. You have good internet connection, right, Youssef? Yeah, I think it's an internet thing because I cannot even see Youssef moving anymore. So we actually had planned to have Youssef next, but since we're having difficulties, would you mind, Gabriel, to show your screen? And then in the meanwhile, Valeria, the tech deck, if you can please help Youssef get back in and maybe get his presentation so that you can show it. Go right ahead, Gabriel.
Okay. So it would have made more sense to listen to Yusuf first, but I can give you a presentation. Are you? Should I continue?
Yeah, continue, because probably what has happened is that every once in a while Yusuf gets a little bit of a better internet, so we can hear some things that maybe he said, you know, a minute ago. So just keep going and we'll try and get him online.
Okay, so I would like to present the high performance rooftop in Africa. A little bit about Bougie. Bougie is the solar company in Senegal, and we exist since 2010. We have 5 regional offices and 50 employees, and our company is organized in 3 departments. We have Bougie Irrigation, which is specialized in solar pumping and irrigation. We have Bougie Electrification. This is the electrification of big electrical and diesel pumps. We have projects in agro-industrial environment, small and medium-sized enterprises, and residential and housing projects. And we have a 3rd department, which is Bougie Solaire. Here this is concentrating on distribution of high-quality solar products. I would like to give you a little bit background on the power situation in Senegal, because when we talk about rooftop, commercial, industrial, this sounds already quite advanced, but in Africa, and especially in Senegal, we don't have enough power available in the country, and there are a lot of difficulties, which is a chance for solar energy. So in general, it's not sufficient. It's very, very expensive energy in Senegal. We rely a lot of imported petroleum, and the transmission distribution to rural areas is really insufficient. So I wrote here a passage I found on USAID. The electrical tariffs in Senegal are very, very high. So we pay 110 francs CFA per kilowatt hour. And if you compare this to other sub-Saharan Africa, this is 65 kilowatt hour. So if you think about installing solar, the question of affordability and amortization can be can be really well shown. Opportunities for high quality rooftops, it's commercial and industrial, including here in Senegal SMEs, yeah, because we don't have yet huge industrial players in the market. So Bougie is concentrating also on small and medium-sized companies. The installations are a little bit smaller, but more. Yeah, and there is a very big chance for the agro industry and for public buildings, and of course residential and housing projects. So there are very interesting projects coming up for social housing, but there are also interesting projects for residential areas for the growing middle and high income class. So if you look at commercial and industrial, what is the point? What is the discussion? So if you talk, let's say for manufacturers, they use a substantial amount of electricity, and when you looked at the prices for electricity, you can imagine that their expenses for energy compared to their revenues is enormous. Yeah, sometimes they spend 50-60% on their revenues on energy, and they use energy inefficiently because in most of the cases they have old equipment and processes that need a lot of energy. So there's always a combination of energy availability, but also help them to modernize their equipment for production, yeah, to be more efficient. In most of the cases, they use diesel generators when they are off-grid. And the motivation to switch to solar is to save money, really. Yeah, it's the argument for greener energy, yeah. In some cases it's there, but it's not yet their main issue. Yeah, their main issue is really cost saving. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to get out of this. I have the wrong.
Don't worry. Let's try again. Don't worry.
Yeah.
This happens. I just wanted to, in the meanwhile, Yusuf, are you there? Because I see you're connected, but I can't.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, excellent. So we'll go with you next, okay?
Okay.
Something happened to my presentation. I'm very sorry.
I mean, we can probably, I know it's in French, but we can probably more or less understand.
No, it's the wrong presentation. I've sent it yesterday, but it's, yes.
Yeah, got it?
Yes.
Here we go. Okay, can you make that large? Yeah.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So to give you a picture, this is the grid in Senegal. Yeah. So you have one big power line here in the north, and then you have some grid extensions here. But if you are a company who is here, you have no electricity, or here or here. So the only chance you have is to have diesel generators or solar. Yeah. The challenges for if you discuss rooftop installation for CNI, the purchasing power is quite low for these kind of companies, and financing through commercial banks is still difficult because the commercial banks are asking 20 to 30% own capitals and a lot of guarantees, which especially the small and medium-sized companies don't have. But luckily, there are more and more financing partners coming to the Senegalese market who are offering innovative financing options like very long-term leasing options. And they are looking at the business model because for them, they need to be sure that this company can pay and exist in 10 years. And for companies like this, it's really, really important that we use high quality and high performance material. Like for example, we in Bougie, we are using Trina Solar panels because we have to install something which is really long-term and efficient. I show you here an interesting photo. This is the Dangote cement factory in Senegal. And when I talked to them, I was really surprised. They have a 35 megawatt coal power plant. And to show you the possibilities we can have in the market, they are really huge if we can convince people to switch to solar or to have solar as a hybrid solution. I was talking about also solar rooftop installations for public building and residential and housing projects. There's a very interesting project coming up here in Senegal. A decision has been done to replace the electricity system for 300 public buildings with an estimated 36 megawatt installed capacity. And when buildings where peak power is less than 100 kilowatt, even battery storage is foreseen. So this is a very interesting project for everybody who is on rooftop. And there are a lot of social housing projects, and there is one with 200 houses in 2022 with the objective to be energy efficient and with solar installations. There is another really interesting market in Senegal because about 20% of the PAB is coming from the agricultural industry, and rooftops installation or ground mounted, really interesting for irrigation, supply of drinking water, for cooling, for transportation, processing. Here you see a picture. We have installed quite a big installation where we replace huge diesel pumps with solar pumps for a village, Taibanjai, which is supporting drinking water with the big water tower for 25 villages. And the villages they are saving now about 60 or 70% on costs for drinking water and pumping. So what is the conclusion? Chances for high quality solar equipment, including inverters and everything which is going together, really high in Senegal. Solar energy is very competitive to the electric grid, which is not really existing, or it's not very far. Another advantage is if it's self-consumption and not rural electrification projects, if it's really self-consumption for a private-to-private contract, the contract is not regulated in Senegal. So you can have your own solar installation for your company. And what is also interesting, the political willingness to invest into renewable energy is there in Senegal. Yeah, we have we have the objective to have universal access to energy until 2025, which is quite sportive. But the whole world, the whole world has the objective to have universal access with in 2030, which we probably can do. And we have the objective here in Senegal to have at least minimum 30% in your renewable energies. The challenges for this market is financing, like everywhere. High quality material is necessary. So we are having in the moment some supply chain issues. I hope this will get better in the future. Another challenge is to install these kind of installations. You need to have a high quality of technicians for installation and after sales services. Here, a lot of work has to be done still. So we are working with universities, with professional training centers to have the right people to install this kind of material. And another issue is really important. If someone invests, and the investment is quite high, as you can imagine, if someone invests into a solar installation for his company, he needs to make sure that there are local companies with a long-term strategy and local know-how. So if you are here, you have to stay here to ensure that they have really a good after-sales and maintenance service. And this is not always the case, yeah, because if you are in big installations, many often multinational companies come to Senegal, they install it, and they leave the country. So all in all, altogether, a huge market for companies like Mehdi and Youssef, and you are already here in the country, and I'm happy to share some experiences. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gabrielle. It sounds like it's really, really huge opportunities there. I mean, you mentioned something about 50 to 70% of their income goes into energy. That is insane.
It's insane. Yes.
I don't think there'll be like a better reason to go into solar than that.
Yeah, it's the upfront costs that are difficult. No, they are very. You can convince them very fast, but how to pay? This is
business model is definitely an issue. And Youssef, I'm really sorry that earlier we couldn't see it. We're going to try now, but we have your presentation. So if it doesn't work, then we'll get Valeria to show it. Okay, let's see.
Okay.
Let me see. It's still saying, yeah, now we can see it. Yay. Okay, excellent.
Finally.
If you can press in the whole screen.
Yeah. Can you see my screen now?
We can see. Yeah, perfect. Okay, go right ahead for it.
Okay, perfect. So thank you very much. I'm sorry for that. I think I had some troubles with my internet connection. Anyway, I'm going to introduce KO France, a very small introduction, and I'm going to talk more about the solution that we can provide for the market. So for the people who don't know our company, we are a power conversion manufacturer. We started our business in 1988, so we have 32 or 33 years of experience, and we have 4 factories in China. We are present in more than 100 countries and regions with more than 1,000 engineers, mainly working on the R&D department. And in terms of references, we have more than 18 gigawatts installed around the world. So this is the timeline of the company. As I told you, it started in 1988, and we have a very good track record. For example, in 2013, we had installed more than 100 PV and storage systems in Indonesia. In 2015, we were ranked for one of the top 5 PCS manufacturers in the world, depending on the each S market. And for example, in 2020, we are ranked the #1 in India for central inverters, and #9 for PV inverters worldwide. So what we do exactly? As I told you, we are a manufacturer of power conversion systems. We have 3 departments. The first one is the renewable energy department that manufactures solar inverters. And I'm going to talk in detail about the products that we have. ESS systems, everything that is related with storage systems, EV charging systems. For UPS, everything that is related to uninterruptible power system, we do provide electrical protections and backup solutions. And at the end, we have solutions for data centers to provide electricity for this very sensitive equipment. So for our products and solution portfolio, we have two main families that I'm going to present here. The first one is for string inverters. Our string inverters starts from single phase, the smallest one, single phase inverters from 3 to 8 kilowatt that we can find in the market. Then we have another family from 5 to 25 kilowatt, three-phase inverters. For these two first systems, we are talking about natural cooling system because the power of these inverters is very small. And then we move to another family that starts from 30 kilowatt to 60 kilowatt. Of course, we have 30, 33, 40 kilowatt, and 60 kilowatt with multiple MPPT each time. And then we have bigger inverters, with an output of 400 volts. We are talking about 100 and 125 kilowatt inverters. At the end, we do have the 250 kilowatt inverter. This is the biggest one on this family. And it is, it is manufactured mainly for big rooftops or ground-mounted projects. The second family is the hybrid inverters or hybrid solutions. So for single-phase solutions, what we have the first one, the all-in-one solution, which contains an inverter from kW plus a battery. The power of the inverter can go from 3 to 6 kilowatt. So we have 3, 5, and 6 kilowatts. And the battery capacity can go from 5 kilowatt hour to 32 kilowatt hours or more in some other cases. We have another single phase hybrid inverter, which is available on two powers, 3.6 and 5 kilowatt. And for the storage, it's customized. This inverter can be coupled on multiple technology of batteries. And at the end, we have a big solution. This time, it's mainly focused for microgrid inverters. It's a containerized solution with batteries, electronic power systems, and everything that can go with. So today we are talking about the MEA region, and there are some challenges that were already mentioned by Gabrielle in her presentation. So one of the main challenges for manufacturers for this region is how to face the high temperature, because electronic devices can suffer in very high temperature or high altitude. There is another challenge, the poor grid quality. So the quality of the grid is not always good. We have a drop of frequency, of voltage, and so on. There is another problem is the maintenance. When we talk about the maintenance of the equipment, but also how to find very well-trained people to do this maintenance. Another challenge that I share with you is the after-sales service from manufacturers. Is it available on all the countries and regions or not? And how to face the harsh environments like dust, desert areas, and so on. And the last thing is the power outage, which is a nightmare for people who invest in renewable energy. So since the time is very limited, I'm going to focus on some of our inverters or solutions, and then we are going to see how we can face some of these challenges. So this is our 30-60 kilowatt series for Ongrid inverters. It starts from SPI 30 to SPI 60. So the maximum power is 10% higher than the name of the inverter itself. And the number of MPPTs will increase each time we increase the power of the inverter. We do have 3 inputs per MPPT. And this inverter is, we try to make it very easy to install by not adding a lot of devices around the inverter from DC or AC side. So this inverter has an integrated overvoltage protection from both sides, AC and DC, integrated DC switch. So from DC side, you don't need to add anything. You just plug the strings from the PV field. The operating temperature range is going from -25 to 60 degrees Celsius. And here, of course, we are talking about the ambient temperature. The inverter has a wide range of voltage, so it can start at 300 volts, which means that the inverter will wake up very early and sleep very lately, which means that the inverter will generate more energy during its lifetime. And at the end, the inverter can operate on unstable networks, thanks to some functions like the LVRT, low voltage write-through, high voltage write-through, and we can even customize the grid code of the inverter depending not only on each country, but depending on each region. So this is another solution, which is a shelter of 100 kilowatts. This is a solution that we made for French market at the beginning, and now we install it in other regions as well. So this shelter is containing two inverters of 40 kilowatts. You can see the next picture here. So we have two inverters of 40 kilowatt, 44 kilowatt maximum power, and an EC box with all the protections that goes with. So the idea is to make the solution very easy to install for the customer. So what you need to do here is just to take the shelter, plug the strings, and put the cables from the AC side, and that's all. It's very easy to install. The other inverter that we have is the SPI 250. This one is suitable more for, as I said at the beginning, for big rooftops and maybe as well ground-mounted products. This inverter is compatible with bifacial modules because it can accept a very high short-circuit current. Compatible with tracking system, it can accept a very high DC-AC ratio if needed sometimes. It is compatible with storage systems because the component, what we call the PCS, the power conversion system, is manufactured by KEWA as well. And the inverter is connected to a communication box, and we have our own platform, which is called Waste Solar Plus. So I'm not going to go into details, except if you have questions at the end. So the last tank is the battery energy storage systems. As I told you, we designed and manufacture customized solutions for storage systems. It's a container of 10, 20, 40 feet. It depends on the projects. We have two rooms. The first one is with batteries, and the second one is the power conversion devices. We have cooling system, we have firefighting system, and all the protection that goes with. The batteries that we use here are mainly coming from lithium industry, but we are compatible with other technologies as well. So the scenarios of application of this solution is to do the peak shaving, the frequency regulation, the backup, how to improve the grid quality for microgrid systems, to create the spinning reserve, and to do the load leveling. So these are some of our references all around the world. You can see that we install our equipments everywhere in the world with multiple and very diverse environments. So this is, for example, 2 megawatts in Poland with the SPI 60, another one in South Korea, in San Francisco, US. And here we have other residential systems coupled with storage systems. So this is the last reference that we did in Madagascar. It's about battery energy storage system with the 350 kilowatt coupled with 500 kilowatt and around 1 megawatt hour of storage. So let's go back to the challenges that we have in the region. So for the high temperature, what we offer is a wide operating temperature range. As I told you, it goes up to 60 degrees Celsius ambient temperature. And we have some intelligent cooling system that can run if needed. For poor quality, we have some protections like the LVRT, the HVRT, and we can customize the grid codes. In terms of maintenance, we have a very minor maintenance tasks like clean the inverter environments or check the torque, something that we can do, how to say, maybe twice a year or once a year, depending on the region. Regarding the after-sales service, we are present, as I told you, in more than 100 countries and region. So we have hubs that allows us to do the after-sales service very efficiently. And for the harsh environments, the inverter is IP66. So the inverter, all our inverters are really closed. So there is nothing that goes in or out from the inverter, which means that it's very protected. And at the end, for the power outage, we provide storage systems to solve this problem solution. So like every, how to say, big manufacturer, we have multiple, let's say, contracts and partnership with many other players here in the market, EPCs, manufacturers, and other partners. And yeah, thank you very much. This is the end of my presentation.
Thank you very much, Youssef, for the presentation on components. Let me just, oh, perfect. So now that we've had the three presentations, I just have a few questions, if that's okay. And people in the audience, you can still send your questions. Please use the Q&A box and we'll read them. First question that I have listening to you guys is, particularly in the case of Senegal, it seems that it's a little bit more than a rooftop, where the electricity is so unreliable and it's so expensive, it becomes also a necessity to produce your own energy. But is this just a rooftop, or is it more like a mini grid? What the cases that you see, across Africa and the Middle East? And I'll open the question to whomever wants to take it.
It's both. Senegal has a strategy for universal access. It's most of the cases a grid extension, but we are planning to install more than 1,000 mini grids to electrify villages. So this is the area of electrification, rural electrification. But on the other hand, we have private customers, who have industries or companies, and they can use this energy, but it's normally not enough to run a company, to do production, or processing. So they install their own system, even if they have grid connections, but because remember, it's very expensive and it's not stable. If you are in processing and you have a power cut for 1 or 2 days, which I remember talking to a company who's producing water in bottles. Their production site was down for almost a week, and this is a catastrophe. So they are looking at alternatives, to have sometimes really completely solar or as a hybrid solution.
So we're talking about the whole works, right? Not only the panels and the inverters, but also potentially batteries.
Solution.
And
yes, exactly. Yes,
it puts a lot of the problem, I suppose, with the business people themselves. They have to figure it out, how to go about doing this, finance it, set it up, hire the right people, procure it's complicated. I wanted to ask you about the business model of your clients that you usually see. I open to you too as well, Youssef and Mehdi. How does it usually work? Like, do they finance the cost? Do they take it upon themselves? How much of the work do they do versus maybe there is a local EPC that takes up that work? So whomever wants to take it. Gabriel, if you want to start.
Yeah, as I mentioned in my presentation, financing is the biggest issue. Because if you are a company like, let's take this water producer, when he goes to his bank, even if he has good numbers and balance sheets and everything, the banks are not yet into this business. They perceive renewable energy too risky. Yeah, they don't have themselves enough technical know-how to analyze the business proposition. Yeah, and not to make mistakes. They don't do it. Yeah, so that's why we rely on international investors who are coming and with leasing options, for example.
That's what I get to. So leasing options, right? That's the way
exactly. Yeah, this is. I think this is the way forward.
And what are acceptable payback periods in this sort of projects?
The ones we are working with in the moment, we propose 10 years of leasing. And it's amazing that for companies, for our end user customers, this is too long, yeah, because they themselves are not sure if they are still there in 10 years. You know, it's a volatile market, and you cannot compare it to developed countries. So Senegal is on the edge of the emerging market, of the emerging countries, and everything is changing. Yeah, so they are all pioneers. If they invest in something like this, they are the first ones. Yeah, so they cannot copy what others have done. No? It's the question is the long term. What will happen in 10 years?
Yeah, I completely understand. And I mean, I understand there is not a developed market, but it's pretty much the same in Europe. If you go to a company now and say the payback is 10 years, you'll be rejected right away because they're looking at most maybe 2 to 5 years, I think, and that is even pushing it a little. So I can know if you have a choice but to go in this direction, because things may get worse, you know, over time. Anyway, I have a few questions about more technology. Guys, you mentioned a few interesting things. Mehdi, you said that you can get an extra 60 watt per panel. Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, exactly. Now we are offering more than 60 watts per model. So we have two series, the DE20 and the DE21. And for the DE20, we are offering up to 605 watts. And for the DE21 series, we are offering up to 670 watts.
It's insane, you know, to me, like you can get 10% more. I mean, whenever you get to that sort of optimization efficiency, it's just so much more what you get out of the same rooftop area. So congrats on that. But you guys mentioned, and I think this was actually Youssef, bifacial panels. And I was wondering, to what extent are bifacial panels being deployed on rooftops? Are they seen, like, are they used? Are they even a good idea considering the structures that are required? I mean, whoever wants to take it.
Yeah, just yesterday or the day before, I received an email on my LinkedIn by someone who saw this webinar, telling me that he is installed in North Africa, and what he is doing, his job is, is to install, he is specialized in installing rooftops with bifacial models. So he told me my work is to paint the rooftop to increase the albedo first, and then I install this kind of technology in North Africa. So I'm not going to say that for rooftops it's the main topic today, but at least we can start to see some rooftops with bifacial models in our region.
Thank you, Youssef. Sorry, you're there, right, Mehdi? Does that, do you think, make sense? It's a question, because I know the implications right now. Having bifacial means like having a structure that raises them, and that must make it a lot harder keeping them on a rooftop than on the ground. So I just wonder, you know, I'm sure it's great in terms of albedo, but I wonder, you know, whether it makes sense in your opinion, especially because O&M seems to be an issue, you know, over time.
No, really, for bifacial model, I'm not sure that they are a lot used on the rooftop, on rooftop installation, but if we have a good albedo in a rooftop and if we have enough space to install bifacial panels in a rooftop, it can be a good idea. But in general, in rooftop, we don't have enough space. So I don't think that the bifacial model can be suitable for this kind of installation. Bifacial can be good for ground-mounted solar farm, and with a good albedo, we can increase generation up to 10 or 15%. So it's a good solution. It's more reliable than normal than monofacial models. It presents better mechanical performance, but we have some other things that we have to consider when we make the design of an installation with bifacial models.
Thank you very much. And one of the things that Gabriel mentioned is that you cannot in Africa sort of go and then disappear, from the country once you've set up the project, because O&M and maintaining it, and the fact that the local know-how is needed is kind of important. So how are you guys approaching that? This is a question for all of you. But
look, it's very important for us as Trina Solar. This is why we are present locally. We have a good team, a strong team that are present locally. I think that in business, it's very important to be near to your customer, to understand the needs, to understand how to assess the culture of your end user and of your customer. So the proximity is something that is very interesting in business. And this is why, as Trina Solar, we choose to be here in Africa, to be with a great team in Africa, a big team that are present locally and near to the customer. And I think this is why I know Gabriel and I know Youssef, because we are present locally and we are near to our customer. They become our friend and our partnership. You are on mute.
You guys want to add anything there? It happens to all of us, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I can add just one thing regarding this topic, the maintenance and the after-sales service in general. This is a very important topic. Even if you have the best product in the world, if you don't have, how to say, if you are not involved after the commissioning of the PV plant, then yeah, maybe you can have some troubles in the future. That's why for us as KEWA France, what we do, we are present locally, but what we do exactly is that each time we have a project, we try to make sure that our customer master all the technical aspects of the solution. And if needed, we can send someone on site to do the commissioning and to do the training for people.
And we are going even
important.
Yeah,
exactly.
And we are going even further. We have 5 regional offices in Senegal to be even more closer to the customer. So Senegal is geographically quite a big country, and all our solutions, all our installations are critical solutions. So if there is a problem, they cannot wait from people from Dakar going to the southeast border to Mali. Their water supply for drinking water or whatever they are doing, it cannot stop. So we have decided to install regional offices where there's always a team of commercial and especially technical people and stock and spare parts. And yeah, so this has to be offered. This is really important.
The critical infrastructure that it is. Makes sense.
Exactly, yeah.
So just one last question, because we've gone a little bit over time, but since we had a few, issues during I thought it was fair enough. Which panel does Trina suggest with lowest LCOE for pitched roofs, and which one for flat roofs? From George. Mehdi is the second question.
Yes. Well, it's really complicated to answer to this question in terms of LCOE. It depends on a lot of criteria. So we have to make some simulation, and I can. the person who answered, who make this question can send me an email with details, and I can answer him after the webinar. But there is some criteria that we have to take into consideration, and we have to make some simulation. But we know that, for example, for ground, this is some simulation that we already done. The Vertex S offer less LCOE in comparison with all technology of same power range, and 670 watt offer also less LCOE in comparison with models of 182 mm wafer. So there is some simulation. We have to simulate that, and I can answer him by email.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mehdi. Thank you very much, Youssef. And thank you very much, Gabriel. Thank you very much to all of you there in the audience. You know, technically we are there. We can do this. And not only can we do it, but it also seems to be one of the cheapest solutions there are. You know, I'm not going to pretend that I understand everywhere, you know, in Africa, everywhere in the Middle East. It's very hard, you know. You have to look at, you know, how the economics works. But the bottom line is that we're going in this direction and they can be done. It's only really a matter of like financing more of the business model side of things, you know, to get those things to you, to make sure that you've got all of the support that you need, that, you know, that it works long term, that you're supported. So like I would encourage, if you're looking to solve this issue with your electricity supply and also to save money, and yes, to save the world, but that's different. You know, not even thinking about climate change. That's completely secondary. It's just because it's cheaper. I reach out to these guys. If you're in Senegal, reach out to Gabriel. And otherwise, if you need, you know, inverters and panels, reach out to Mehdi and Youssef, and they'll be able to help you with the modeling and whatnot that you need to make sure that you're making the right investments. So thank you very much, guys, all of you. And thank you very much, people in the audience. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.